great man. But this kid just kept messing up. And he just kept doing it, and it was making his dad look bad, you know. He was going against his dad, and his dad would tell him, "Don't do this, son, you're going to end up in a bad way." But his son kept making mistakes and started using drugs and started stealing. And before he knew it, at the age of 19 years old, his son got arrested for robbing a pharmacy. And he got sentenced to 9 years in prison. And his dad was heartbroken. 9 years in prison. And his son goes to prison, and he's so ashamed of what he did to his dad and how he messed his dad's name up. And he never writes his mom or his dad in prison the whole time that he's there. Never writes them. And finally he does his full 9 years, and it's like 3 weeks before he's supposed to get out, and he writes his mom a letter. He says, "Dear Mom, I miss you. And I know I haven't written you or Dad. And I haven't accepted your visitations, even though you've tried to come to see me numerous times. I guess I was just so ashamed. But I'm getting out in 3 weeks. And Mom, could you tell Dad something for me? Could you tell Dad that I love him? And that I'm so sorry for what I did to hurt him? And I just want to come home. I just want to come home because I'm hurting and I'm lonely. And I need my father. And if Dad will have me home, if you can have him tie one white ribbon on the oak tree in the front yard. See, they lived in this big white house right by the train tracks. And when you came around this bend, you could see the house. And there was an oak tree, a huge oak tree in the front. He said, if you would just have Dad tie one white ribbon on the oak tree out, that would be awesome. But if it's not there, then I'll keep going. And I totally understand how bad I've hurt you. And I understand for him not forgiving me, and I'll keep going and I'll never look back. So his time comes and he's about to get out of prison. And so he gets on the bus and it takes him to the train, and he's sitting next to this gentleman, and they get closer and closer, and he says, "Sir, I wonder if you'd do me a favor." And this white-haired gentleman says, "Sure I will." And he says, "When we come around this bend up here, I want you to look out the window and tell me, you'll see an oak tree and there's a big white house, and if you'll tell me if there's one white ribbon tied on that oak tree." And the man looked at him like, yeah, okay, I'll do it, but I don't understand. And so they get closer and closer, and he goes, "Here we are, sir." And the man stands up and he looks out the window. And he brings his head back in and he says, "Well, did you see it? Did you see one white ribbon tied on that oak tree?" And the man looked at him and he said, "No." He said, "I didn't see one white ribbon tied on that oak tree." He said, "I saw a ribbon tied on every branch of that tree. I saw white ribbons on the car antenna, white ribbons on the mailbox. There were white ribbons all over that place." He said, "What does that mean?" And he said, "Sir, it means I'm forgiven and I'm going home." Some of you in here tonight, and you beat yourself up so bad. Maybe not even a teenager in here tonight. Maybe you're a youth pastor. And you've just been hurting because you made a mistake. Sometimes you feel like you're not even worthy to be the youth pastor or the pastor because of something you may have said or done. And you've just been beating yourself up. Maybe you go to youth group every time they have it, but you've made so many mistakes you wonder if God would even have you back. I'm here to tell you tonight that there are white ribbons all over heaven. And God is saying, "I'm not mad at you. I just want you to come home." You know, I'm a father. And I've got 2 beautiful sons. I've got a 5-year-old son, and I've got a 2-year-old son. And my wife and I are expecting a 3rd son in January. And one time my son Caden took off. He's 2, and he took up the stairs. We didn't know where he was, and I was looking for him, and I was frantic, and my wife and I were just frantic. Parents in here, you know what it means to just lose your kid for even a second. This is one of the most frightening things you'll ever endure. And then when I found my son upstairs, he was sitting in Josh's room, our bass player. He was sitting in Josh's room, and he was just playing around with this Xbox thing, probably messing it up. But when I saw him, I just grabbed him and I hugged him, and I wasn't mad at him. I just wanted to hold him, and I was glad he was safe. And I believe that that's all God wants to do tonight with you. Because He just wants to hold you. He just wants to hug you and have you back. Would you bow your heads and close your eyes? You're here tonight and you say, I'm so tired of hurting. And I'm so tired of running. And I don't even know where to go anymore. Maybe you're here tonight and in the past 2 weeks you've thought